Hello everyone, welcome back. We've got some fresh Dark Souls remastered footage here to watch together. I took this footage actually. It's me playing as the original Dark Souls game remade that's coming out at the end of May. Thanks to Ruby at Bandai Namco UK for the invite. I went down to their London offices to try it out and this is what I ended up playing. So it's the very start of the game, beginning in the Undead Asylum, as you do, moving to Filing Shrine, and then a few locations beyond that. Excuse my voice, I've got a slight cold at the moment, but hopefully that'll be fine. As for the differences, as far as I've been told, you can see them right here. Okay, all platforms that the Dark Souls remaster is releasing on are supporting 1080p 60 frames per second gameplay as a baseline minimum now, except the Switch. But it's not like you really need high resolutions on that small portable screen, is it? If you're getting it on the Switch, you're really getting it for portable Nintendo Dark Souls. And that's pretty cool by itself. On the Switch, it will be 30 frames per second, 720p resolution handheld, which I think will honestly look fine, and then 1080p in TV mode. If you happen to have the newer consoles, and by that I mean Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, then on these consoles, Dark Souls will now run at an upscaled 4K resolution at 60 frames, while on PC it will be the best as expected. Native 4K with 60 frames per second. Every console in increasing power that you would expect to run the game better should run the game better, if that makes sense. So I think it ran great from what I played. We were allowed to venture until Solaire, and we strictly couldn't show anything else for some reason, so we weren't allowed to go to the catacombs or New Londo or anything like that, which is a bit strange considering the game has already been out for 7 or 8 years. Maybe they were just trying to minimize spoilers for people who still haven't gotten around to playing it yet. Obviously, since we only played up until the Hellkite Drake bridge, I didn't get to experience any of the more problematic areas. But honestly, I really doubt there'll be problems like stuttering frame rates in certain areas and stuff like that. I mean, this is the whole point of the remaster, is to overhaul the graphics and performance after all. And you can see for yourself, that's the purpose of this video. I think it looks quite good. In their offices, I did record this on a PS4 Pro, I believe, at 1080p 60 frames a second. The extra frames really do help with this type of game, I think. It makes the combat a bit smoother. But yeah, if you're planning to get the remastered version, it should look something like this. Dark Souls was always a great looking game and it's quite nice to see it. Some upgraded visuals, although I suppose some PC players will have already had an experience somewhat similar to this with all their modding capabilities. So, trying to think about what questions people might have about the remastered version. Bearing in mind it is a carbon copy of the original game, it will not be a different gameplay or story experience, they made that quite clear. It'll be exactly the same. The only differences will be, it will look better of course, better graphics and visuals, as you're able to see right now, better optimized for the newer consoles with more capabilities. As well as that, I guess there's two other things to mention. The other change is completely multiplayer focused. Of course you can play the whole game completely solo and alone like you've always been able to, but now in the remaster they're expanding the multiplayer portion to allow up to 6 players to co-op and PvP together through the various covenants, which is one of the most exciting aspects to me. But then I've always loved Dark Souls multiplayer, I think it's great fun. It used to be a maximum of only 4 people could play together, in case you were wondering, but I saw in the menus when I was looking around trying to see if they've added anything new, they have added more online features like password matchmaking, and that's a pretty huge deal because I think if you had to plot the progression of online matchmaking quality for Dark Souls games, I genuinely think it does go up over time. The systems in Dark Souls 3, in regards to that aspect, work pretty well. You can get chaotic 6-player brawls going relatively easily, for example, and in Dark Souls 1, I don't think matchmaking did work very well, comparatively. There was quite often long waiting periods in between summoning and invasions, often connections failed completely, and it was a huge pain to connect with a friend. The password system was implemented in future games, and it helped out a lot, and now they're putting that system back into the remastered version, which is interesting. I think it should help, and they've stated many times the remastered version will have dedicated servers, which I think we can take from that. It will be similar to Dark Souls 3 in terms of connectivity and matching people. Overall, the online is just going to be better than the original was. I think that's a fair conclusion to make. And I suppose the final thing is the DLC downloadable content. And that's extra content they added onto the game down the line for a cost. There was only one DLC package for the first Dark Souls, It was called the Artorias of the Abyss expansion. It introduced something like 6 new big locations to the game, plenty of new characters, built upon the story. There was weapons to find, spells, armor, items. It also introduced some of the best boss fights in the game. One in particular is very impactful and a lot of people's favorite. And this extra content will be included in the remastered version, as it should be. So what does that mean? I think if you've never played Dark Souls ever, this is a bit of a gift here. You can experience this amazing game, genuinely one of the most impactful games on my life and a lot of people I know, and that's not in a cringy over the top way, just sort of a more factual way, to be honest with you. You can play this amazing game in 2018 on a console of your choice without it feeling outdated or anything like that. If you have played it before, like I'm guessing most of you have, then I guess the choice is a little harder. You can now get it on any platform you want to play it on, which is nice and convenient. It'll look better, it'll have the DLC included, the multiplayer experience will be a little bit expanded, so for you it's if you want to experience the original game as it was, but just a little bit better. I guess the hardest choice will be for people who have owned the original game on PC, with DS Fix, high resolution texture mods, flora overhauls, and all those types of community made improvements, because if that's the case, you've pretty much already had a remastered experience. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a fair statement to make. So what I'm saying is it might be hard to justify buying the game again if you're in that position, because it won't be a huge step up like it might be for console users. But then again, even as I say that, I think we can all safely agree that the original PC port for Dark Souls was shocking, as in not very good. Therefore, I think it's about time we have a copy of Dark Souls that we can stick in the computer and have it work properly straight out of the box without faffing about with a load of different settings and mods and fixes and stuff like that. I mean, at the time when Dark Souls was ported over to PC, From Software themselves said they would give the community a PC port because they were begging for it, but they weren't familiar with how to do it. At least they were honest, but yeah, at the end of the day, PC players weren't given the quality product that they wanted. So at least now, with the extra help they've brought in for this remaster from other developers like QLOC, we should all now be able to enjoy a high quality Dark Souls experience which is shared across all platforms. For me personally, it's going to be a lot of fun to experience day one of the Dark Souls remastered servers going live. I actually wasn't there for the day one of the original Dark Souls going live. I actually discovered Dark Souls almost a year late. I definitely joined the series a lot later than some people. As you know, I never played Demon Souls. Anyway, it's always a really special part of a new Souls game going live. If you've experienced it before, you know exactly what I mean. It's great to try and put down messages in certain locations, see if you can get the most ratings. Always hilarious watching the bloodstains quickly ramp up, and helping people out as a sunbro, of course. And the most important thing of all, I think you damn well know what I'm going to say, SunlightBlade, the true original miracle, the real man's weapon buff, is returning. Hell yeah. I'll leave you with a bit more footage to watch. Hope you enjoyed it, hope it gave you a taste of the game to come at the end of May. Let me know if you're going to pick it up, let me know what platform you're getting it on. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.